Hey, Sajen here from Sajen's 30. Today's episode is a special one. It's a cooking episode. I'm going to show you how to make cheeseburger mac and cheese. Alright, so we're going to start this recipe off with the meatballs. So we will need some breadcrumbs, some marjoram, some salt, now some freshly ground black peppercorns. It's so much better than the already ground stuff. Freshly and finely grated Romano cheese. We need 1 clove of garlic. Peel it off. Make sure you chop it up real good. I mean, these are going to be in the meatballs, so they got to be fine. You don't want big chunks of garlic in your meatballs, do you? No survivors. Get them all in there. We'll need some milk. And of course, the ground beef. Throw it in the bowl, start mixing it up. Now, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, notice the cat in the background? Internet rules. You have to like, comment, and subscribe. Anyways, mix everything in the bowl up nice and good. We didn't forget anything. The egg, of course. Add the egg, then mix everything up. Once it's mixed, we're going to move it over to some hot oil. I'm about to show you 2 different methods on how I made my meatballs. I tried to be quick. A lot of people make all their meatballs, they roll them up by hand first, and then they cook them. Well, as you can see here, I used a spoon and tried to scrape it out. Quickly realized that I need a second spoon to scrape it off the first spoon into the pan. But you can see I'm still putting fresh meatballs in while other meatballs are, browning up. So I don't think the cooking distribution was very even. But these did turn out delicious. I'm being very nitpicky. Maybe if I was like a 5-star chef, this is uncalled for and just ridiculous. But hey, this is my first time making meatballs. So anyways, here's the second batch of meatballs. I got the spoon still, but I just scraped them all off first. So use a spoon to make the meatball, pack it up with a second spoon to make, more of a ball shape, and then scrape it onto a plate. And there you go. These are ready to pop back into the frying pan. Make sure your oil's hot and you can spoon them on in. And these should cook a lot more evenly this time. And just keep rolling them around until they are browned inside and out. Now these meatballs, they can be used. I used them in my cheeseburger mac and cheese, but you could actually use these as a meatball pizza topping, or you could probably even just make a burger out of it. So it was a really delicious recipe, and here I am adding the second batch to the first batch. There's my first batch of meatballs. I've never made meatballs before, and this was a great first recipe. They tasted awesome, and they're going to be awesome in my mac and cheese. Oh yeah. Speaking of, it's time to make the pasta. I've read lots of theories on how to make pasta, and I keep coming back to this. You got to use at least 1 gallon of water for 16 ounces of pasta, and you got to salt it. I mean, really salt it. Use 2 tablespoons. It should taste like the ocean. That way you know you're doing it right. So let that come up to a boil, and now we're going to start our roux. Roux is a mixture of butter and flour, and this is like a thickening agent to make sauces. So here I have my butter. It's got it on a low heat, and I'm letting it melt up, and eventually it's going to start simmering. And once it simmers, you are ready to add your flour. Mix it all up, and once you do, guess what? You just made a roux. Go you. Now to this roux, we're going to add some thyme, some cayenne, black pepper, and some salt. Now, why am I adding this to the roux instead of the final cheese sauce? Well, because Chef John at foodwishes.com said so. We'll mix it on up for a good couple minutes. You'll start to smell like a pie crust sort of smell. And then add 1/3 of really cold milk into your hot roux. And the cold and the hot mixing means you're not supposed to get any lumps. And then once that's mixed in very vigorously, I'm honestly not vigorous enough, but mix it in well, then add your second third of milk and keep on mixing, and then finally you can just dump the rest of it in. Now, once this is all mixed in, you're going to want to let it simmer up to like 8 minutes, and your pasta water's probably boiling, so add the pasta. And now's a good time to check up on the kitty. He's a kitty. Ooh, it's a bored kitty. The pasta's boiling, the sauce is simmering. It's a great time to prepare your other ingredients. Shred the cheese yourself. Ooh, it tastes so much better, and it's way cooler to say, hey, I shredded the cheese in this mac and cheese that you're eating. Haha, isn't that cool? Anyways, I used about 16 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese and about 8 ounces of Gruyere cheese, and that was an awesome mixture. The Gruyere really adds a lot of punch to the flavor. In this particular recipe, I only put in half of a diced onion, but honestly, it could have used more onion, so I would have put the whole onion if I could do this recipe over again. Next time I make this, I'm definitely putting a whole onion. This is a cheeseburger mac and cheese after all, and the best cheeseburgers have onion. And I like to chop them up pretty fine so you don't really notice that they're in there. But anyways, your sauce should be simmering, and I added about 5 scrapes of fresh nutmeg. But of course, you can put however many scrapes you want. And then I put a couple drips of Worcestershire sauce. And then at this point, I added my diced onions. And if you super duper want to make this taste like a cheeseburger, I would add 1 tablespoon of ketchup and 1 tablespoon of mustard to this mix right here. But I didn't do that because the people I was cooking for aren't too hot on, mustard and stuff. So anyways, now the pasta's ready and the sauce is ready. So drain the pasta, put it back in the pot, and then add the white sauce to the pasta. And then quickly add the cheese to this because the heat from the pasta and the sauce is going to melt that cheese. I had a bad experience cooking cheese on the stove. I think the heat was too high and it became all sandy and grainy and disgusting. So anyways, cooking cheese at a low heat is the way to go. It just melts together. And then to this, I added my meatballs. Now when I made the meatballs, they weren't all exactly the same size. So I tested one of the bigger ones. I cut it in half to see if it was still pink on the inside. And it wasn't quite brown. Like, it was cooked, but it wasn't quite brown. So I transferred it over to a baking dish, and I preheated the oven, and this is the perfect opportunity to add cheese on top of this. And if you're crazy, go nuts, you can add breadcrumbs and all kinds of toppings, whatever toppings you want to the mac and cheese. I just used cheddar, and then stuck it in the oven. And then about 20 minutes later, here is what we had. That doesn't look too bad. And in fact, it wasn't bad. In fact, it was pretty good. Just a nice mix of the creaminess and the pasta and the meat. It was very flavorful. I was very happy with the results, and everyone who tasted it loved it as well. Well, there you have it, cheeseburger mac and cheese. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you saw me do anything that was absolutely incorrect, or you could help me in any way, please leave a comment. I am only learning after all. And we had fun today, didn't we? But it is time to go. So this is Sajen from Sajen's 30 signing off. And remember, do life's to-do list today.